So perhaps you are a bedside nurse and you're looking to get out of that and be like a nursepreneur or explore other options for more income and less time constraints. Hi, my name is Mark. I am a former registered nurse. I have been an unemployed nurse since 2019. So I'm a serial entrepreneur these days, and I want to talk to you about perhaps in your pursuit of looking at options under the goggles of being a nurse, you've come across the Vickie Milazzo Institute and this legal nurse consulting. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and why there may be some better options available and what that option entails. So we'll kind of review some of that. So what do? You're a nurse and you've gone through the school. Obviously, you're probably passionate about bedside care. And so what we tend to do is look for ways that we can expand or grow or get away from bedside with some other options. But we tend to look at things through the goggles of nurses. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Typically, what most nurses do that I've worked with is they go to be a nurse manager, which is a good way to get fired. It's kind of a running joke when I was in the hospital was the quickest way to lose your job was to be a nurse manager. And then we could go, another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in debt to be a nurse practitioner, maybe get up to that $100 an hour benchmark. Another option would be a nurse anesthetist, right? I've looked at all of those and didn't do any of them. But I did become an entrepreneur, and I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. We'll talk a little bit about the Vickie Milazzo, the certified legal nurse consultant, and why I think that may not be the best choice for you based on my experience as an entrepreneur. And we'll talk about maybe some other things, some things where you can take off those lenses as a nurse. So one of the things that I always did as a nurse before completely quitting and starting my own business was, got into the MLMs. Somebody you work with is selling something. They're doing parties or selling lotions, potions, and pills, as I call them. And you get into those, and unfortunately, they have a high failure rate. So let's talk a little bit about some viable options. Well, no doubt in your journey looking at different different viable options for being a nurse, you may have come across the concept of a legal nurse consultant. So with the legal nurse consulting, basically what you're doing is you're getting if you're going to go with Vickie Milazzo Institute, it's about $10,000 the last time I checked on it. You are learning to review different cases, like maybe potential lawsuits, and interpret those and give documents and feedback back to an attorney. Problems with this. It's very niched. It's business to business. You have to market to attorneys. Personally, attorneys can be kind of difficult to work with, just if I'm being frank with you. Your income potential, $100 an hour. Now, what I did was I left nursing. I started, had a job, right, which there's a character in the Bible named Job who's synonymous with pain and suffering, so I did not like that. I can relate to wanting to get out of that. But what I did was started both insurances as well as a mobile notary service. So I was self-employed. So instead of having a job, I owned a job, which was a very good job because I could make in excess of $100 an hour with not a lot of training or time. Now, I'm not here to tell you to be a mobile notary at all. I'm just telling you that is the route that I took. And I'm glad I did because I used that as a springboard. And I used the income and the time freedom that I had to start an agency, basically be a boss instead of self-employed. Instead of being my own boss, I became a boss of others. I'll talk about that too. And then eventually moved my way down into the entrepreneurial space where you can make what I call semi-passive income. In other words, instead of trading time for dollars, you start to have income producing assets that make you money. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that journey. So my route was mobile notary. You could make easily as much as being a nurse consultant without the $10,000 course, without any special certification, and a lot lower startup costs. What's the downside? Well, anybody with underwear can be a notary, right? It's a very low barrier to entry. If you like starting a lawn service, anybody could do it. To excel at it, you are going to have to be really good with the marketing, the communication, customer service, and then you could stand out and make really good money with that. Where if you're doing this legal nurse consulting, aside from that $10,000 training, you probably don't have a whole lot of competition because one of the prerequisites to being a legal nurse consultant is to be a registered nurse, right? So That would be an advantage to it. However, you have a very small market cap, in my opinion. I haven't done detailed investigation into it, but so those are my thoughts on that, is that it has a much higher startup cost, a much narrower market, still about that same pay, that $100 an hour, but instead of just doing simple assignments that have a very simple skill, you're doing a lot more complex assignments, and you are also have a limited market that you are serving, but you also have to market yourself as well. So there again, if I was comparing apples to apples, I would go the mobile notary route all day long. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about getting into the entrepreneurial space. And so what I did is I went to being self-employed. I was a mobile notary. I was going out and cross-selling insurance, other legal services, and trading time for dollars. Of course, the dollar amount was way higher than the dollar amount as a bedside nurse, and even a nurse practitioner for that matter. So then what I did is I became a boss. So I started an agency where I hired other notaries to go do those mobile notary assignments for me, while I took half the fee, so to say, for being the agency, to be the one who structured the deal and marketed. And that just came as a process of time of getting better at marketing, which should be the natural progression of things. So again, I used that income and that time freedom of only working a few hours a day to springboard myself into bigger and better ventures. So now as a boss, there's a lot more money and there's a lot more leverage, but there is also some headache involved in being a boss. So you essentially are kind of like a babysitter in a way. And I don't mean that to be mean, but I'm just telling you that you have to supervise other people, and they can mess stuff up, they can underperform, they can not show up and make you look bad. So you tend to have to do a little bit of damage control as the boss, although you do get paid more. Now, if you can gravitate down to the entrepreneurial space where you can create semi-passive income, there's going to be a lot less headache, a lot more time freedom, and you essentially can escape the time for money because you can have systems in place that make money for you around the clock, okay? So we have figured this out, and we have gradually shifted ourselves away from self-employed to more of a boss, to even less of that and more of this over time. And it was a learning process for us. Question is, can you shortcut the process and go right from here to here? Yes, you can, but there's a lot of know-how involved. Alistair Mosey, who's a very well-known entrepreneur, says that you can start a business overnight, but you can't develop the skills to run a business overnight. And so that is very true. But if I was to turn back the clock to 2019, I would probably, just knowing what I know now, I would bypass these steps and go right into that step of being an entrepreneur. So how do you do that? What would I do in today's economy and today's market, knowing what I know? Well, I would sell digital products online. That's exactly what I would do. I'm not talking about Shopify. I'm not talking about Etsy. And I'm not talking about Amazon KDP. Like, Grace and I have books that we sold on Amazon and Audible. You can go get them if you want. That is technically passive income, but it's not much more than maybe a cup of coffee a day, really, when you add it up. It's not a lot of money. And if you were going to do that, I suspect you would have to create a lot of books, or get lucky and make books that get really, really popular really quick. I mean, our books they're pretty popular books in the space, and still it's we're profit sharing with Amazon. It's not everything that it's advertised, and a lot of people tell you to do that. The same when we're talking about physical products, there's going to be a lot more competition. With online virtual products, the margin for profit is incredibly high. So if I was looking at this through the lens of a nurse, maybe one of the things that I would have done, for example, was when I took the NCLEX many moons ago, it was pretty easy for me to do. So maybe I could have created a Pass the NCLEX course, right, and sold that. That would be an example of it. Of course, I would have to learn how to market that online. That's the real secret sauce, not the passing the NCLEX, okay? Another example would be when I was doing bedside nurse, I was really good at IVs, right? So maybe I could do some kind of my IV tutorial, like the tricks and just how I develop the skills to do that, would be something that I could create. But then again, there has to be a market for that. I have to determine the market for that, and I have to be able to sell that product to the market, to the people who are looking. So that's the challenge. So what I would do and what I suggest doing and what we're currently, well, we do have digital products that we have sold for a number of years now, mainly in the notary space, meaning we are teaching notaries how to get started, how to create a mobile notary service and other legal services that are very profitable. We're showing them how to get to the level of success that we had here and here through digital courses. But we have, of course, over time learned that this is really cool being in this space. So we have decided to expand in that space. Now, as we got good at being both self-employed, running a local service-based business, and being the boss, marketing in areas that we don't even cover, we've invariably consulted other small businesses and helped them to grow their small business. This spurred the idea to create a small business success course, basically how to market your small business to maximum capacity. And while we're in the process of developing that kind of chunk by chunk, because it's going to be very voluminous and expensive, because it's worth it, while we are doing that, we realized that there is also another market, much larger market of people who want to make money online, and they want to work from home and make money online working from home. And so to capitalize on that, what we have done is explored this concept that I'm going to share with you called the PLR, private label rights, and MMR, master reseller rights, okay? What this is you have a digital product that you can sell at full retail that you have the master rights to resell to somebody else, okay? So in other words, a ready-made course that you can go sell. This is different than affiliate marketing. With affiliate marketing, you are not keeping the customer, and you are sharing the price of whatever that affiliate product is. This is completely different. This is selling at full retail. So there are several places that do this. There's several businesses that offer such a thing. One would actually be ClickFunnels themselves. So ClickFunnels does have a PLR courses that you can sell, and they teach you how to sell them, okay? So I will put a link for ClickFunnels for their PLR, so you can go check that out if you want. But that is not what we are doing. After we investigated ClickFunnels, we investigated some of these other master reseller right type of courses. We decided to go with something called the Legacy Builders program. So the Legacy Builders is a course that teaches you, it gives you a ready-made funnel to install, teaches you how to go out and sell that product, that digital product, online in a very semi-passive way, only having to commit to a couple hours a day and generate very high revenue sales, basically on autopilot. So not on autopilot, there is input there's input involved, and there's learning involved. But as you develop those skills that took me years to learn, you can shortcut that process by learning the most effective skills in a very short period of time, while subsequently making money doing it in the process. So we have onboarded with Legacy Builders. This is not a multi-level marketing. It is simply digital marketing online, selling digital products. And I will put a link for that. It is safersuccessonline.com. You can check that out. You can see what that is all about and see if it might be a viable option for you. Either way, the fact still remains, if I was to turn back the clock to 2019, and I'm grateful for our notary business, and I'm grateful for the notaries that make us money, and I'm grateful to serve the community with our legal services. I would no doubt in my mind have gone right from here to here, learned how to get those skills as fast as possible and committed to those so that I can make money in my sleep, which is a reality now, and it can be a reality for anybody who's willing to commit to the learning process. Because there is a learning process. Nobody's born with this stuff, with the ability to digital market. So there you have it. If you are a registered nurse looking to get away from bedside, I would strongly suggest look at getting into the creator space, getting into the digital marketing space with digital products. And I would strongly suggest getting training on that. It doesn't have to be with me. It could be with ClickFunnels. It can be with any other offer, but I would seriously entertain that. If you really wanted to stay within the, in the goggles, the lenses of nurse, that I would say, okay, find something that is a good fit for that. I would say don't do that, because that's what kept me in nursing for a long time, was I couldn't figure out a way to take my nursing skills and apply them outside in the marketplace. But the reality is that the skill that you can apply in the marketplace as a nurse is your passion, and it is your work ethic, and the fact that you've already gone through college and you already understand the concept of delayed gratification. The great thing is you don't have to front the thousands of dollars that you took to go and become a registered nurse. You don't have to do that. You can spend hundreds of dollars and then invest in the equity of your mind to learn those marketing skills, and then you can turn on that faucet or that funnel and make some money in your spare time that makes money around the clock. So that's it. I hope you like this. And if you are a nurse, my background was intensive care before retiring or becoming unemployable. Comment, let me know what field you're in. And hey, if you are a legal nurse consultant and you have great experience with that, comment and let me know what you think about it as well. Other than that, we will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.